Thank you.
And again, we are open to public comment.
So, real quick, if there are comments, I ask you direct them to the chair.
I am going to direct it to the chair. I came tonight not knowing this was going to happen because I wanted to ask that the council and the town manager,
Name and address, please.
Daniel Bouchard, 8 O'Connell Drive, Londonderry, New Hampshire. Because I wanted to ask that you give us an update as to how many vacant positions that we've run throughout the year. And the reason I did that was because, and this is not on Chief Bernard, this is on this previous chief, all right, that would run all these vacant positions just to balance the budget. And what I saw tonight, well, first of all, I saw last week at the meeting. I was very proud of Chief Butler because he's out there hiring local people that live in town, that grew up in town, all right? And I look behind me. These ladies and gentlemen support this man. I cannot believe that you did not deny that resignation and support the fire chief. Okay?
Excuse me.
You have
Is there a motion to accept his resignation?
I don't know, John. This is my time. This is my time, John.
Because there
Sorry.
damn well better not be.
This is my time, okay?
I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure there wasn't one.
All right. Because if I look back and I saw that Chief Butler grow up as a young man, saw him in schools and stuff, and I see the support that he has here. We've had other department heads, all right, that you've brought, that not you guys, all right, that the town has brought in, all right, that their rank and file didn't support him, all right. We had a fire chief before this, all right, that you brought in from out of town, all right, that didn't have the support that you have here tonight, okay. Yes, we want the protection. We wanted the 13 on staff. I'm an elderly person. I have a community that have a lot of elderly people. Okay, we have a lot of elderly people in the community. Last week, when I heard you, Chairman Franz, talk about this hospital, and I was like, yeah, he's right, okay? It's going to draw on our services, okay? The last thing I want to see as a taxpayer, these gentlemen, these ladies, endangered and end up, one of them dying, and we end up at Peabody's. Okay? We had a surplus last year in the budget, didn't we? I don't see what the issue is. Okay? He's giving us what we want, the coverage. All right? And I think you need to consider that. As a taxpayer, and when you say 70% of the people voted for this, they're telling you something. And if you let this man walk away, you're making the biggest mistake that you can ever make on that council. All right? I don't think you, to me, I look at this as another Laurie Gandia situation. All right? Because when Laurie Gandia had the whole situation, have we filled that position? No, people don't want to come here because of the situation. All right? We're going to have the same problem with a fire chief? Nobody's going to want to be a fire chief because of this. No. Gentlemen, you need to really think this over. You need to step up, okay? The last word is with you people. You're his boss. I've had differences with Mike. I don't know what happened here, but it's not good to lose Bo Butler as a chief. And please don't let him walk away.
Thank you, Mr. Bouchard. Let the record reflect that the council has not voted to accept a resignation at all. Gentlemen, name and address, please.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Brian Young. I'm the Vice President of Local 3160. I live at 14 Fieldstone Drive. Beside me is Brian Schofield, Treasurer, Local 3160, resident at 18 King John Drive. So tonight I come to address you as the council, the chair of the council, and the citizens of Londonderry. We're coming to express our strong support on behalf of Local 3160 for Chief Butler and the incredible work that he has done for the Londonderry Fire Rescue Department and our community as a whole. Chief Butler's leadership has been instrumental in fostering a culture of professionalism, accountability, and progress within our department. His commitment to improving the safety and well-being of both the community and the firefighters under his command is evident in every decision he makes. Chief Butler consistently advocates for the resources and training needed to ensure that Londonderry Fire Rescue operates at the highest level of efficiency and readiness. Moreover, Chief Butler's transparent and collaborative approach has strengthened the relationship between our department and the town of Londonderry. His dedication to open communication and teamwork has cultivated a working environment that encourages growth and development for all members of the fire service, from new recruits to experienced firefighters. As members of Local 3160, we believe that stability and success of our department are directly linked to the strength of our leadership. Chief Butler has proven time and again that he is a leader who not only prioritizes the safety of our town, but also the welfare and growth of his personnel. His continued service is vital to the future of Londonderry Fire Rescue, and we wholeheartedly support him in his role. Sincerely, the members of Local 3160.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Gene Jastrom, 19 Horseshoe Lane. This stuff's got to stop. This budget stuff's got to stop. I don't know exactly what happened here. I can only tell you my 35 years being on this department. Same issues. It's funding. It's always funding. It's never the overtime has being filled exactly the way it needed to be, with one exception. Because when COVID came in, the fire chief back then recommended the amount of people that need to be on duty, and the council back then agreed to it. So you know an exact figure of how much it takes to run this department every year. The problem is there's nothing set aside when somebody gets hurt, and now you have to pay somebody time and a half to fill that position. The funds start drawing down. Now, I don't know exactly where the funds are right now in the department because I'm no longer in there. But being a taxpayer that backed these guys up and went after that warrant article and passed it, and I had reservation about this because I knew this was going to end up happening because it's happened every year that I've been there. You get to a certain point, January, February, and all of a sudden we got to start dropping down. We got to drop back. And we drop back because we have less funds. And I understand that. But the problem here is the council, year after year, sends a budget to the taxpayers below default because you want to keep the taxes low. I understand that. But that comes at a cost. Comes at a cost that these people, whether it's the fire department, police department, DPW, they have service contracts. They can't maintain that stuff. They have to start dropping that. They have to start dropping other stuff to try to maintain their staffing. And it's a false sense of security if you guys bring a budget to the taxpayers and say, this is what it's going to take to run. And then we turn around and get a warrant article in front of us and make a decision, okay, this is the manpower, what it's going to take to run. So the question is, who's at fault here? Was this funded right to begin with? Is it the town manager? Is it finance? Or is it ultimately the chair? Because you're responsible for this town. And I'd like to know the answer.
I'll give you the answer. So I've served this town for 25 years, as you've known.
Yes.
I served as the chairman of the town council for 10. And this is my 15th year. I came close to resigning this afternoon because for the last 25 years, I've done nothing but try to do and protect this town. When I joined this council, we had 8 firefighters on a shift. So for the last 15 years, I've fought to bring the police and the firefighters up.
That's not in question.
I'm not saying that. We changed the form of government here to SB2. It stinks. It's a terrible law. If we were in town meeting, we could do the things you said we could do. If we changed the charter and got rid of SB2, and I'm all for opening up the charter, we could go back to actually budgeting correctly and not work within this stupid law that we have to abide by the state. I hate it. Here's the simple deal for me. I'm not happy about any of this. Right? I only found out about this 5 hours ago. I'm pretty unhappy about that because I didn't get a chance to fix it. One of the reasons he told me is because he didn't want me to talk him out of it. What I want to do is fix it. But I didn't get that opportunity. For the first time in 15 years, I didn't get that opportunity because it wasn't communicated to me. Regardless of what anybody else up there here thinks, I've been around the longest. I'm the old guy. Some people don't think I know what I'm doing, but I do. And I remember everything. And every one of you in this room know that I do everything I can do to protect our employees. This pisses me off. I don't like this. I want to find a solution. I want to work together to do it. That's my opinion. But I didn't get that chance this time. And Gene, you know me.
Oh, I know
You know I get shit done when I say I'm going to do it. And I've never cursed up here before. This pisses me off. And they can use that anywhere they want in social media. But I didn't get that chance this time. And it bothers me. Hopefully, and the reason I asked her is nobody better have made a motion to accept the resignation because I know I'm not ready to. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh, my question, I have to go towards the chairman. The fact of the matter is that you got to start putting a real budget together. You really do. I mean, many years ago, a town councilor, in a lower breath, said if they only really realized how much it takes to run the fire department. 15, 20 years ago, that was stated. Well, you do know what it is. And if the taxpayers have turned around and said, we want X amount of people, and if all of a sudden they keep running into problems and we keep dropping back, we have to figure out why. And if it's figure out why because it's injuries, then maybe it's time to put a line item aside to be able to take care of those injuries, whether it's in any of the departments that we have in this town. There should be some type of account to be able to pull out to be able to maintain. And at some point in time, we've got to cross that bridge because it's really getting tiring. Okay? That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Gentlemen, Deputy Fire Chief Philip Blanc, resident 3 King John Drive. I've lived in this town for 30 years. Teddy and I grew up together. I grew up with Chief Butler together. I graduated from the high schools here with Justin's brother. Chief Butler, this we can talk about money till we're blue in the face. We can. But at the end of the day, we got to look at people over money here. Chief Butler, I'm going to tell you a story, and this has resonated with me, and this is why I feel so strongly that this is more than money, and this is what's doing right for this community with the right leader. Chief Butler was asked, and you all know this because it was in the newspaper, and he was asked to go talk to the football team. He didn't offer that. The coach asked him. He went over there. He talked to the whole football team for an hour and a half, 14 to 17-year-old boys. He called 18-year-old boys. He called one out for sleeping. Now, you know what those boys did? Those boys left the room, and they went and told their friends how impactful his speech was. And those friends went and told their friends how impactful his speech was. And I know this because parents of my children age who have older kids came to me and said, I heard the fire chief give a pretty good speech at the high school. If that doesn't explain to you the effect that this man has on this community, I don't know what does. And I'm telling you right now, leadership goes a long, long way. And what he's done for this town in the 40... How long has he lived in this community? 40 years?
Yeah.
40 years. Went to the high school, elementary school, served our country for this town, came back, continued to work here for 19 years, and then took this job, bought a farm so it wouldn't get developed, for crying out loud, so we could continue to maintain the feel that we want in this community. I don't know what else he has to give. I really don't. I don't. But all I'm saying is this guy has bled this town through and through to the point where he got 18, 17, 16, 15, and 14-year-old boys to go tell their friends not to screw around, not to drive drunk, to put their seatbelts on, to treat women well, to be men, to raise their hand and say, I messed up when I messed up, to own their mistakes, to stand behind it, that they have two last names, their last name and the town of Londonderry and the Londonderry football team. And if they make a mistake, it's not only going to affect them, it's going to affect the school and every person that works in there, whether they play on the football team or they play in the band. I don't know what else has to be said about this man. I really don't. But as a guy that's worked side by side with him for the last year and has known him for 30 years, I don't know what else you want in a leader. I really don't, because that's the best you're going to get. It's the best you're going to get. That's all I got.
Good evening, Council. Bruce Hollowell. I'm a resident at 10 Phillips Brook Lane, Londonderry, New Hampshire. I also serve as a battalion chief with the Londonderry Fire Department. I'm standing before you today still because of the man that just resigned from his post as chief of department. We're talking about a number of 13 members on duty, which is far below the national standard of fire protection for any community, especially one of this size, with the size of buildings and the target hazards that remain in this community. For those of you who sit on the council that don't know, and for people...
Hey, you're good.
And for people who, at home watching, on July 27th, 2 years ago.
Bruce, look at me. You're okay.
Myself and my crew from Engine 2 in the south end of town responded to a major building fire in the town of Derry. We operated at what ultimately turned into a 5-alarm fire. This is a sprinkled building, supposedly non-flammable, and engineered to be safe. Went to 5 alarms. In that building on the 4th floor, myself and a probationary firefighter became lost and disorientated. I ultimately ran out of air on the 4th floor in suffocating smoke. The fire chief who just walked out of this room heard my calls on the radio, understood the inflection of my voice, and knew I was in trouble. He freelanced his way to the 4th floor of that building, found me, and ultimately led me out of the building. I was 30 seconds from cardiac arrest. I would have left behind a wife and 4 kids under the age of 10. That's the job we're talking about. That's the reality of not staffing. And we were staffed to what we considered to be a full engine company. We had 3. So when we're talking about 13 or 11 or 10 or 9, the question I have for both the council and the community is, even at 13, we're still well below where we should be. We were 30 seconds in this community away from a line of duty death. That's what we're talking about. And the man that just left here, he saved my life. He was issued one of the highest citations for his bravery that you can be issued in the fire service. So I ask, I beg, please restore the ability for our leader to return to his post. Because I have a 10-year-old boy that wants nothing more than to be a firefighter in this community. And I want to leave him a department that he'll be proud to work at. And that department needs to have Bo Butler at the top of it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Yep.
I'm sure you're dreading this, but that's okay. Never short for words. Jim Butler, 5A, Danbury Court. I've been a resident of this town for over 37 years. My boys have gone through the school systems. They've gone through the athletic systems, and they've turned out pretty damn well. The first thing I want to do is I want to thank the people that Bo's leading. I appreciate it. This means a lot to the family. I don't know whether or not I can convince Bo to come back. They haven't accepted his resignation. I don't know. And quite frankly, I apologize, John, because this afternoon I myself found out about the details, which is disgraceful. And I will talk to you, Mr. Chairman, but the people who I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. John, I apologize for the way I acted.
It's okay.
Well, you got to know when you're wrong. And I was wrong, John.
We're
It
friends.
was emotional.
It's okay. We're
Okay.
friends. It's all right.
Now, let's get to the money. Don't tell me I was a counselor for 11 years. Don't tell me you don't have the money. I don't want to hear it. We have two positions in this town, very highly paid positions in this town, the assistant engineer and the planner. For 2 years, they haven't been filled. It had never happened in the private industry. Unacceptable. We have open positions. This is a bottom line budget. You know where you can get the money. Some of this is political, guys. Some of it rests on your shoulders. Because I'll tell you something. After tonight, there are going to be people in this community that are going to ask questions. Yes, Bo's my son. I've tried to talk to him, but Bo's Bo. He's going to do what he wants to do. And I've never got in the way of this, ever. So I'm speaking from the heart, and I'm speaking to you guys. It's you. You're the chairman. This is a disgrace. To let this go on, it's a disgrace. For 2 years, we had a budget that they went on overtime, which was Darren's budget, and then we had another budget. Did the town manager ever ask Bo what he needed to make it right? I'd like to know that answer. I'd like to know how much money right now did we give the taxpayers back last year? The finance director should know that. How much was it? Mr. Chairman, do you know it?
I don't know.
Did we give money back, John?
I haven't. We were going to have a budget review tonight, so I was going to find out tonight.
That's great. I'd like to know how much money we gave back or put into the undesignated fund balance for last year, and I'd like to know how much money that was given back or put into the undesignated fund balance the previous year. Don't tell me you don't have money. You've got money. And this tells the story right here. I don't have to say much more. And then I hear there's a toxic environment. There's a toxic environment over at the fire department. Really? I won't mention who, but I'll tell you what. He knows. Does that look like a toxic environment over at the fire department? I don't think so. You haven't. I haven't seen this in 20 years. You've got contracts coming up. You've got all kinds of things coming up. They were behind Bo. And Bo's a leader. He's not going to cower to just make someone feel good because they don't agree. This was a political sham. To a certain extent, this was a political sham because Bo stood up for what he thought was true and what he thinks is right. And someone mentioned Laura Gania. This is a Laura Gania thing in a different set of clothes. That's what this is about. Build your file. He has never I have to be careful of HR, I get it, but his record was clean. His record was clean. What? Do you gentlemen know what the town manager wanted to give him? You know. Do you know?
No, I don't know. I was involved in the
Okay,
conversation.
I think you should find out. Do you know?
I do not, sir.
Do you know, John?
I found out at 4:30 today.
Really? And what? Sean's not here? Oh, by the way, Sean beat me and he's doing a damn good job. Just to let you know, that's the way it is. I'm okay. It's good.
Well, let's hear it. What was it?
What was what?
What was he going to get?
The only reason why I'm hesitating is because that has an HR issue attached to it.
Tom Butler, 5 Danbury Court. We're in a room full of people that know where there's smoke, there's fire. You got smoke right there, and you got fire right there.
Tom.
He should be fired, and he should be fired. That's all I got to say.
So, with that being said, yeah, I'll tell you what it was. I'll go out on the line because I don't BS people. I saw a letter from my son who's never had a problem. People have said he's done great things. He's got great reviews. I saw a letter from your town manager that said he was going to get suspended for 5 days without pay. Now, who in their right... See, you're looking at saying, what the hell are you talking about? I suggest as a counselor, you find out, Ted.
I would.
I suggest as a counselor, you find out. Are you kidding me? Someone that has a... If there's issues there, that's fine. I get it. But you got to be kidding me. You have a guy that's been on this force for 20 years. Has not a blemish on his record. And then the town manager sends him, and I haven't seen it all. That's up to Bo if he wants to show it, I guess. A 5-day suspension with no pay. Are you kidding me? You're kidding me, right? And look at guys, half these counselors don't even know what happened. I'll call them out. I don't have a problem. They bleed just like I do and just like you do. So guess what, guys? Get your cards in line. And I wish you the best of luck. But I'll tell you something. You have a management problem here. Look into it. And for you guys not to know what was going on with the department head, I want to ask you a question. Who approves the department heads? Who approves the final approval on the department heads? Just need to know, guys. Who does it? Ha! You guys don't know? Who does it? I want to hear someone tell me who does it.
You know how it's
I know. Well, I want to hear it from you guys. I want to hear it from a counselor that doesn't know anything about this. I want to hear it from a counselor that doesn't know anything about it. And it's just, that's the fact. You don't. Who approves the heads?
We do.
You guys do. And you guys don't even know all the facts.
No.
Could there be some things? Yeah, there could be some things there. But you know what that is? And you know me. I don't like politics. I really don't. It stinks from the head down. And I'm not done with it. So you guys better come up with a solution. Because I'll tell you what, after the people of Londonderry watch this meeting and hear and look at all these people in the room, there's going to be hell to pay, guys. And guess what? I know the game. Oh, let it pass. 2 weeks, it'll be over with. We'll see. We'll see. And I've directed that to you, but the people know who I'm talking about. And I'm not done. And I'm proud of my son. You should be ashamed of yourselves. And someone else in this room should be ashamed of themselves, too. That's all I have to say.
Matt Lemire, resident 21 Chandler Drive here in town, also a TCO with the Londonderry Fire Department. I don't care what anybody says, what any of you think what's going on over there, but the least truthful thing I've heard here tonight is that there's a toxic environment over there. I was just hired late June, early July, and every single one of these people back here has treated me like a family member from day one. And that doesn't just happen because there's a toxic environment. That happens because of the leadership at the top. Chief Butler, Chief LeBlanc, all the lieutenants, down to the new hires that started 2 weeks ago. Every single person at that department has treated me like a family member and would do anything for me. And as a resident of this town, I've had these guys respond to my house for my little guy that got hurt. The people in this town are going to suffer if you cut this staffing. I'm saying this as a resident. It's absolutely ridiculous. And like Bo's dad just said, this council should be ashamed of itself. This is the most loving place I have ever worked. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I have never worked for a place like the Londonderry Fire Department. You people need to realize that.
Allow me to speak again?
There are others that may wish to speak.
Well, I haven't moved. I'm still in 19 Horseshoe Lane. What I've heard over the past 10 minutes or so, I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. You're the man. Buck stops with you. Ted, you said you didn't know anything about it?
I had no idea.
And Ron, you said you didn't know anything about it? And John, you said you didn't know anything about it.
I'll be honest. Jim and I had a conversation. He told me about the letter. There's more information, as there always is.
Yeah.
And that's frankly when I found out about it. So I did some checking, and what I can commit to Eugene, because we've known each other a long time, is that, again, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. I'm a little, I got some things to think about, but I'm going to dig into this and figure out if I can come up with a solution that, that will work. I don't know. Usually I need a little bit more time than 6 hours.
Well,
So,
hey, I just found out at 6:45 that this was happening, so.
yeah, I mean, I found out at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So, I mean, I need a little time. And I'm going to do my best to try to dig into it. So, and that I can give you my commitment on.
So, Mr. Chairman, correct me if I'm wrong, but the town charter says you're the man. You dictate the orders to him. He turns around and dictates the orders to Bo. And we, as taxpayers in this, pretty much dictate to you. So I'm asking you, did you know about this?
Oh, what?
Did you know about this whole thing of what's going on? The fact that all of a sudden he's potentially going to be suspended for 5 days with whatever's going on? I was led to believe this was just a financial thing. Apparently it's not just a financial thing. If I have counselors that don't even know, and I don't know if you know or not, I'm guessing you probably do. These are games. Enough with the games. You've been hired. You brought your name out there, and people voted you in. You were hired to go in the position, and you were elected to go into the position you're in now as the head honcho. So, number one, did you know about a toxic work environment over there? Or you choose just not to answer the question?
I don't know what you want me to say. What are you looking from me?
Well, it's a yes or no. That's it. And if you don't want to answer it, okay. Anybody that's watching the TV or on YouTube or whatever, a couple days, a week or whatever, I guess they know the answer. I don't get it. I really don't get it. When you got a police chief up here that says that they've got people that they love to go to work, that they have the head count that they do, then you have the fire department that turns around and does exactly what they were asked to do to make sure they filled every spot they did. And they worked hard and they did. They filled it. And now all of a sudden we're turning around and we're saying this, we're saying that. These are games. So who wants to come work here? If they know they're going to turn around and potentially get on the chopping block, or it's just the town politics. I would once say, because I moved to this town back in 1970, that, it's just a small town politics. No, it's not. Because number one, we're not a small town anymore. And two, the politics are just getting worse and worse. And how do you want people to step up here and lead your departments? When they got promotions, they're going to turn around and step back. Then you're going to hire somebody in, like you did down in Massachusetts a couple of chiefs ago, and find out that was a big mistake. I don't get it. I don't get it. And boy, I wasn't frustrated, but over the past 15 minutes of what I've heard, it just makes me sick.
I'm still at the same address, 8 O'Connell Drive, Dan Bouchard.
And since we're doing,
Chad, I just want to apologize for previously I was a little upset because I love this community. And I just hope that the council will step up and do the right thing. These people came here, and I think it speaks volumes of the support they have for their chief. All right? As long as I've lived in this community, I've never ever seen a turnout like this for whether it was a police chief that was in trouble or a fire chief that was in trouble. All right? I never seen that. Ted, you've lived here for a long time. You know it. Yeah. Okay? And I sit there, and some of them have spoken, and I know there's a lot more that would like to speak, but they're in a vulnerable position. They work for the town, and if they say anything, sometimes it comes back to bite you in the butt. All right? I've learned that a long time ago when I worked for this community. You speak up, they're going to nail you. So I'm not afraid to speak up anyway. But I just hope that, first of all, I know I was very upset earlier. My wife sent me a text, and she goes, "Oh, calm down a little bit." And I just want you guys to do right by this community. We have a great leader, all right? And to lose that leader and have him leave, that's wrong. You have to look at somewhere else, all right? This is not the first time this is going on in this community. So thank you.
thank you. Anyone else?
I don't know if this is appropriate, but I'm here for a different issue.
It is public comment, name and address.
It is,
please.
okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that as seniors in Londonderry, my husband and I have had so much help from the fire department here, the fire services, and the police that we're just really grateful to them, and we're grateful to live in Londonderry, so thank you. Okay, easy. Going from this to I need a sign in my street. Are you ready for it? Okay.
So, full disclosure, we spoke this afternoon.
Yes.
And I asked you to come down here.
Yes.
I didn't know that this was going to happen, as you probably heard, but because we spoke earlier in the day, and I had no idea that this was going to be here. So I want to apologize to you that I didn't recognize you and have you be able to get home earlier because
That's okay.
So I'm
That's
sorry
okay. I'm
about
not sure
that.
it's appropriate for me to talk about this. I know emotions are very
it's
high.
absolutely appropriate. It's something you're concerned about, and you should bring it to our attention.
Okay. So, hello, my name is Linda Sharp. My family and I have lived at 12 King George Drive since the spring of 1980. Our property is on a dangerous curve, and our drive is blind. We don't feel safe or secure as we leave our driveway and enter the road. We hold our breath no matter how careful we are when we go onto the road. We don't know who's going to be speeding or who's going to be texting, or it's scary for us. So I'm here to request some type of signage to indicate to drivers that they should slow down and be alert. They need to be made aware that when they take that curve, they're going to be pretty quickly maybe hitting a car leaving a driveway or somebody taking a walk, neighbors to walk their dogs, and the kids are on bikes. Even to the point of, snow removal or getting mail or getting trash cans. It's down at the bottom of the driveway, and people come around that curve not knowing what they're going to see. There's so little time or room to make a correction, and we've had a lot of near misses. I've talked to a neighbor. The neighborhood's changed. We've been there 44 years, so we've seen our kids grow up there. Now there are a whole new bunch of kids right around that curve. One is learning in kindergarten and learning how to ride a bicycle. And I talked to his mom today, and she's very concerned too. I don't know if you're aware of King George Drive, what the topography is like. So, of course, she supports some kind of signage as well. And I said, we're seniors. My husband also is visually impaired, so it's not good to have a curve like that if he's down the bottom and expect him to, see it and get out of the way. So I'm asking for some kind of a sign or some way to slow things down. So the sign can be for a blind drive, for a blind person, for handicapped person, slow children, caution curve, just anything at all so that the driver will know that that little portion of King George Drive needs extra concentration and extra caution, and we don't want any injuries. And I thank you for your attention and consideration, and even for listening to this on such an evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if I can address this, we actually did I actually asked some people to do some investigation this afternoon. The police department let me know that they've been out there regularly patrolling and looking at this area for the safety issues. I also spoke with the public works director and asked him if he would go out there and take a look and give his point of view. We also, all of us recognize that with the house being built in 1969, it was before we actually had proper zoning, and that the site distance that would be required for their driveway today, the driveway wouldn't be built the way that it is today. In speaking with the public works director, what he let me know is that he's going to take some look for some signs that he may have about slowing down into a curve and see if there's something we can do to resolve this without going through the whole traffic safety committee, and something that we can work on to bring more attention to it. And if it's okay with you, Mr. Town Manager, if you could please direct the public works director to follow through on that, that would be great, and maybe we could resolve something before the winter.
Certainly.
Thank you very much for your assistance on this. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Jake Butler, 2 Danbury Court, Londonderry, New Hampshire. I think the chief asked us all to maintain a good composure, so I'm going to do just that. I hope each and every one of you learned a little bit about leadership tonight, because what you saw tonight is more leadership than any of you have ever shown. And that's all I'm going to say. All right? Get it? Learn a thing or two. I don't know what else to say. These guys think he's incredible. You guys don't have the privilege of being his little brother. Maybe I'm a little biased, but you guys, this was the single-handedly most influential leader in the town of Londonderry that this town will ever see. And here I am, 32 years old, still learning a lesson from him every day, because that's the kind of guy he is. Leaving these guys with real leadership. I suggest you show them some leadership, Mr. Franz.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. All right, council. I'm going to call a couple-minute recess.